The manner in which the shelling was conducted, Your Honors, reflects both its departure from the permissible uses of artillery as well as the intention behind it. To shell towns as a whole, to frighten civilians into flight.
Topništvo svakako psihološki djeluje u smislu demoralizacije protivničkih snaga. To je jedna od njegovih osnovnih zadaća, da se vrši i demoralizacija protivničkih snaga. Topništvo kao takvo može izazvati određeni strah vezano za stanovništvo.
U ovom trenutku mi kompletno sa našom tehnikom kontroliramo Knin. Nije ovdje, kako izdate zapovjede za udar na Knin, mi ga za nekoliko sati rušimo kompletno.
Without any further explanation. There is no explanation given what part of the town should be shelled, what military targets in the town should be shelled, what effect should be achieved.
It's a fundamental tenet of international humanitarian law that it is illicit and improper to simply place an entire populated area in the crosshairs because the enemy has dispersed military objectives within that area.
It was a massive artillery. Definitely, according to our military, it was from a distance.
There was almost an immediate explosion of everything around us. It was there was glass flying around, there was dust, there was pieces of trees flying around, there was brick flying around, there was a ball of fire that came between me and the vehicle in front of me. I was in radio contact with the person in front of me. I directed him to get out of the area as fast as possible. We made our way across the bridge and into a residential area where we felt the shelling would not be as intense. We were not correct.
Čim sam izašla iz zgrade, prva kuća pored stambene dvije zgrade je bila potpuno uništena. Ja sam se baš zapitala da li su ljudi uopšte mogli da prežive tako uništenu kući.
When the mortar round impacted on the side of the UN building on the road, several people were killed. I believe that I indicated 5 to 6, I believe.
I saw a bomb to fell onto a convoy of vehicles and tractors. Where people were waiting to, obviously, for the bombing to cease, to pass through the town.
I got outside the vehicle and I could see devastation in the street. Some bodies were lying down, some cars were on fire, and I could hear artillery around impacting to the town.
At the time when I drew this map, I was asked to indicate as specifically as I possibly could recall on where the shelling affected different areas within Knina. What I should have done is I should have taken a big pen and drawn a circle right around Knina and not specify and say this is the area of impact, because that was the area of impact.
Throughout the shelling, we could not figure out, as military professionals, what the Croatian army was shooting at. We understood them shooting at the battery. We did not understand the targeting criteria they were using to distribute fire across the rest of the town. So it was confusing and puzzling to us what the Croatians were actually shooting at.
To je stvaralo takvu paniku kod stanovništva da ne znam, ja sam vam pričao kad sam se dolazio na komandno mjesto da deca kmeče drže zbog zvuka, drže ruke na ušima, žene gole, nisu stigle ni da se obuku. Trče u podrume, pitaju mene šta se to dešava, s čim to gađaju, kaže.
People were afraid, scared, children crying, and absolutely uncertainty. Nobody knew anything about what was happening.
And shelling, well, means, to my part, is firing shells against a city with all the risks that are involved, with collateral damage, killing of people, injuring of people, neutralizing or destroying infrastructure. And I cannot help it, but I have to think about the same situation that I witnessed for 5 months in Sarajevo, where exactly the same happened, where without any military purpose the city was shelled, and to my opinion was the only purpose of bringing fear to the people, bringing chaos, bringing disorder, and by doing that forcing the defending troops to surrender.
The court should not get the wrong impression. This was not Stalingrad or Vukovar, where weeks of shelling reduced the city to rubble. It was not the most destructive shelling of the war. But that is precisely the point. The intention was not to destroy Knina, the city of Zvonimir into which President Tudjman intended to resettle Croats, but to drive out Serbs.
The prosecution wants you to believe that the Croats shelled civilian areas, but offer you no evidence, nor has any been disclosed in discovery in this case, about what areas were targeted and what areas were hit. There was no excessive shelling.
Imaj na umu da može biti takva situacija, panika u Gračacu, da uđeš i što prije uđeš uopće, da javiš da si ušao u Gračacu, i svi vi koji ćete biti, jer će to djelovati psihološki. Slušajte, u takvim situacijama psihološki utjecaj pada pojedinih mjesta je veći nego li da 2 dana tučeš sa topovima i granatama itd.
Now the artillery group commander must take that information and do his targeting and make sure that he has assigned different batteries and different guns the capability to prosecute those priorities.
Tijekom cijelog Domovinskog rata ja nikad nisam ispalio projektil bez egzaktnih koordinata. Niti je postrojba sa kojom sam zapovjedao. Nikad.
The operation order read that the forces had to take control of Knina and the environment of Knina. And you may come to the conclusion that that is a center of gravity.
The UN, and I think this was significantly based on Colonel Leslie, asserted that there was indiscriminate shelling of Knina. But the UN personnel, including Colonel Leslie, were basically locked down in the UN headquarters.
General, did you also tell that as a result of the shelling, that 300 to 500 personnel, of which the vast majority was civilians, predominantly women, children, and elderly, were killed?
Yes, we gave them an estimate in that range of numbers.
Sir, had anybody done any investigation whatsoever to make a determination as of 5 August 1995 that 300 to 500 people had been killed as a result of the shelling?
No, sir, we were locked inside our camp and were unable to conduct an investigation.
The only individual identified by the HHO to have been killed by shelling or a grenade in Knina that was a civilian is in fact Momčilo Marjanović, correct?
Tako je.
Considering the amount of rounds that went into the town and my lack of experience in what a town would look like after a shelling like that, I was surprised at how little damage there was in expectation.
I remember the UN military talking about a very fast and professional military operation.
I don't think there were major violations of international humanitarian law in those first few days.